You working OT, you're trying to get to know me, but I don't wanna budge, no. I can tell that she a freak, it's a freak that she wants, so you know the vibes, it's mine, no time for solos. You already know when I pull up on the curbs, you know we have to keep it gangsta for true. You told your girls that I'm a dub, then you look me in my eyes and said, you're mine, no. You're mine, no. Fuck these other bitches, are you dumb? For real, see, I know you wanna. What is this? Witness this. Feeling turn you on, now she wanna get it on. She a freak in the sheets, ain't nobody here for creep. So I don't mind if you wanna spend some time. Whoa. She know we have to keep it gangsta for true. You told your girls that I'm a dub, then you look me in my eyes and said, you're mine, you are mine, oh. You're mine, you are mine, oh. Fuck these other bitches, are you dumb? That's why that you're a freak. You been a freak of the week, but you're still a lady in these streets. But I know you a freak. You been a freak like me, but I just want some more. You told your friends that I'm a dub, then you look them in the eyes and say, he's just a vibe, he's that guy. But you make me shy and cry. I wonder why. Oh Lord, she's a freak. You been a freak of the week, but you're still a lady in these streets. But I know you a freak. You been a freak like me, but I just want some more. You told your friends that I'm a dub, then you look them in the eyes and say, he's just a vibe, he's that guy. But you make me shy and cry. I wonder why. Oh Lord, she's a. She said, baby, why you so low-key? Never seen you up in the streets. She a baddie running game on me. So they be really working OT. You're trying to get to know me, but I don't wanna budge, no. I can tell that she a freak, it's a freak that she wants.
That's COVID.
He made the decision to play Thiago. Klopp doesn't change the system since Buvak left. He don't want to change from the 4-3. Boom, boom, boom. What's going on, people? We're back again on the Jerry James Show. And lo and behold, it looks like the gang's coming back together finally, man. I'm seeing Roms there regularly. We got Ish back as well. All ripping out international tops because as far as we're concerned, the performance today was not acceptable from Liverpool. So we're vetoing the kit until further notice. I'm joking. We're just supporting the Women's World Cup. But yeah, big up to everyone in the building. Hope you're doing well. We're going to be doing a review of the second preseason game of the season for Liverpool, man. 4-4 draw. A lot of things to talk about. A few players shined. A few players had poor games. We're going to get into all of that stuff. But before, obviously, I get into the people in the comments. Roms, Ish, what are you guys telling me, man?
I'm good, bro. I'm good. I'm good. Just been enjoying the Women's World Cup. Seeing some proper things. When the big nations are starting to turn up now, and then obviously watching our preseason thing as well is all right. I'm just glad football's coming back slowly, innit? Football's coming back slowly. I want that Prem season to come back now as well.
It was a nice way to start off the Monday. That big up if anyone in the comments is German, but your striker pop is just popping off literally. And Liverpool, like obviously we're here to chop that up, but it's just like Ish said, man. It's just nice that football's coming back together. I think 2-3 weeks from the start of the Prem season. So, yeah, slowly but surely.
There we go, man. There we go. But I'm going to get to the people in the comments now, see what everyone's saying. We've got Captain Sal in the building. Big up Captain Sal saying, sat down back to reality by a second division team. We got KLFC. Big up to KLFC. We got Trudon in the building as well. We got Angel 9068. Don't worry, I'm saving all your things. We got Mark K in the building. We got Gary Richards in the building also. We've got Ibrahim as well. Big up to yourself, Ibrahim. We've got Shelia Mugisha as well. We've got GTV as well, who's running late, but telling us it's been a fantastic performance. We're going to have to, hear his take on the game. We've got Uncle Albert in the building. And yeah, many, many more. So guys, make sure we are smashing the like, people. Make sure we're smashing like, as always, getting that ticket to entry. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe. And whilst you're at it, just click that notification bell because then you're going to be notified about all the new content that's coming on the channel. But let's get into it. Big up to Jay Kismet as well, but let's get into it, man. 4-4 behind closed doors, thunderous weather up in Bavaria, and yeah, man, I'm gonna dash this at Roms, man. What were you expecting from this game coming into it?
I'm not gonna lie just because we drew it and say, oh, it was just a performance thing. I did expect to win. I'm gonna lie. First and foremost, I'm gonna say that I did expect to win. Kind of regardless what teams we put out, we should be dispatching these teams. But I think preseason, I don't want to sound cliche, but it mainly is about performances. How Klopp set up. I did think Nunez was. If we're gonna go through the starting lineup, I did think Nunez would probably start over a Jota, but then the way Jota ended the last game, he probably warrants that start. Trent in the 6, we spoke about it last stream. I expected it. I think that's what Klopp's going to go with now, and he's going to stick to it. Back 4 kind of picked itself. Again, we're going to probably go through each player individually, but there's a youngster that we just need to accept is not it. That I know you probably know who I'm on about, but that right back, that he's just not it. Yeah, he had a decent spell at Bolton, but he's not it. Diaz, Twinkle Toes had a good. That was a good goal. I think Jota and Gakpo were interlinking again. I was quite impressed, but I'm mainly looking at performances. But I'm not gonna lie. I did expect to win, JJ. I did want to win, but I feel like some of our fans are just overdoing it though. That thinking this is big meltdown and etc. etc. Because that second half team, if we're being honest, will not start that the first game of the season or whatnot. But it is annoying when that's what your fringe players are on, because let's say we get injuries to the first team players, they're the players that we're going to rely on. So I do get it from that aspect, but that was my kind of overall feelings about the game.
What about you, Ish, man? Coming into that game, obviously, we had our first game in preseason. We looked all right. You know, we got excited, got to see Soboslai, our new number 8. We got to see McAllister. Second game now, were you expecting a mad improvement, or
word to what Ron was saying? Like, obviously, I expect to win, especially against. I never heard of this team until today.
If
you asked me what the name is now, I couldn't even tell it back to you. Like,
it sounds like a meal. It sounds like a German dish, bro.
I never had this team before. You just expect the quality to prevail. Obviously, preseason is about fitness. They might be ahead of us on their schedule and that, but you expect to go out there and at least look like the Premier League team against the second. Like, there was points in the game where it's like you don't know who the Premier League team is, which you don't really expect to see if you're playing a team at that level. But yeah, there was some good performances. I think the front line looks good. We look like we got goals on our front line, which is encouraging for the season. The defense, some of the goals we conceded, obviously, like touch wood, you don't expect to see Adrian play a game for us in the Premier next season, but we gave this brother a new contract in the summer. Like, I don't understand how we can't, like, our third choice keeper, I can't really remember what his name is, but surely he's good enough to bump up to, if Kelleher goes, bump this guy up. Because if Kelleher gets sold, I don't really back the club to go out there and get another goalkeeper. So now we're looking at, what's the name, Harvey Davis or something. Harvey Davis, that Pitaluga guy, and Adrian.
No, so the other brother, Yarosh.
Him, he even looks dead as well.
Do anyone know what is Kelly injured?
I think he's getting sold. Apparently, Wolves put in a bid of 25 M's or something.
I
think he's getting sold, but the defense, like Tsimikas, Matip, and Gomez for one of their goals, I'm just like, bro, you man look all dusted. You all just look washed right now. Matip obviously brought a bit of quality on the ball, but I'm worried. Word to what Ram's saying, I'm worried about our back line going into the season because we're one Kanai injury, which we know can happen at the drop of a hat. We're one Virgil injury, which has happened in the last couple of seasons. Then it's looking spooky. You're looking at like a Gomez and someone else back there. So I'm starting to think now, we've not really heard much mention of a defender, but I'm starting to think now, is that as important as getting a midfielder in? Because, yeah, some of the goals we've been conceding, it's not even like a fitness thing or like you're rusty. It's just like you're not good enough. You're actually just not good enough to play for centre forward. So that's my main takeaway. But going forward, we look all right. Obviously, I know Rums is going to give Nunez his flowers more than the rest of us, but he got his goals in it. The second goal especially, I was like, yeah, you know what? I just gave him a little nod. That was it. But yeah, it is what it is. It is what it is. Like, from Klopp, what would you expect in terms of like style of play? It was 4-3-3. There was no like, all right, cool, we haven't got a 6 in yet. Can you do a McAllister, Trent double pivot? Or can you do like something a bit different? Man just played 4-3-3 like you've been playing for the last 7 years and just put these square pegs in round holes. McAllister, first half. I just see him walking off the pitch. His face was the same colour as the shirt. He just looked finished already, bro. He looked finished already. And I know he had a good first game, but this game I was just like, bro, have you like, has Klopp ball got you already? Is this how you're looking? from being all lucid and that and dropping shoulders. Now you're just getting a ball, playing the same Henderson square ball back to the back four, playing one wide to the right back. There was no like, yeah, man. For me, it's the style of play. I'm going on a rant here. For me, it's a style of play over the performance I was disappointed by today. Performance could be anything in the preseason. If it was 8-8, I wouldn't even care. But I didn't see anything that saw us kick on from last season, or like I can be like, cool, this is what Klopp's drilling these guys on. I'm hearing we're doing a triple session some days. What are you man working on then? You just running for 3 hours a day, or are you doing any sort of tactical stuff? Because they look the same thing as last season with different players. Like, but yeah. Anyway, I said my bit. But I won't really move.
G, before I get the lineup out, because obviously I know you came in. Obviously, you made a comment in there saying, you made a comment saying it was a great performance. So when you saw the lineup today, and you saw obviously Conor Bradley at right back, Trent at centre defensive minute, why are you laughing?
Yeah. No, it's from his face.
You're gonna laugh at me. Be honest, innit? Like, fuck no.
Nah, go on, chat to me.
His comment earlier, that was fantastic.
Chat to me. People gonna start thinking there's an agenda going on with all 4 of us being here after Liverpool draw. But go on.
Yeah, Jesus. When you saw our lineup, were you surprised at the lineup?
Nah, not really. I'll be like, who? I can't really think. Obviously, Szoboszlai is injured.
Gakpo playing in the 8, Trent in the DM.
Nah, bro, you said it yesterday on the show that we did yesterday. You blatantly said, right, watch Gakpo like potentially playing the 8. Like, people, if you didn't watch that show, watch it again. Joe mentioned it. What do we see today? Gakpo in that position. I wasn't really too surprised with the players that were on the pitch, bar maybe Salah, maybe, but that's if he was trying to go that strong, like, all right, I want to play as many of the big boys as I possibly can. But in terms of the players, nah, not really, to be honest with you. Like, I wasn't really too surprised. I'll keep it a buck, man. I think those players in those positions, that's what he was trying to see. Ben Doak obviously starting, Conor Bradley in that, whatever you want to call that right back position, Trent in the 6 again.
What was Bradley doing first half? Man was doing inverted but you weren't getting on the ball. Then I see.
We'll get into it, bro. Listen, people tell me, you know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of people who tell me he's the guy. So if he's the guy, he's the guy. Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna argue with anyone anymore on these players, man. Just if they're the guys, then they're the guys. It's really that simple.
You don't have the energy, like you know.
Bro, I don't have the energy. Like, I don't care enough to fight anybody about these players. Like, if Bradley can do inverted, then he can do inverted. If Trent can play in the 6 by himself, he can play in the 6. Gakpo, if he can play in the 8 position, he can play in the 8. Yeah, we move.
Yeah, I'm gonna get the lineup out now using SofaScore. 2 seconds. I personally, I don't know about you guys, but I found like Trent being in this 6, I find it quite interesting because a lot of us now, we spoke on the show yesterday, talking about, look, we want to go and see the likes of. Oh, let me see if I can make this larger.
Just before you get into it quickly, Jerry, is there a way? Maybe you can tell me, obviously off air or anything like that. Is there a way to see, like, obviously maybe because it's pre-season, so it might not be a real thing, where you can see a first half lineup and then a second half lineup?
See, I don't know. I wish I could. Okay. I wish I knew. But
no. I was trying to find it for time and I couldn't find that at all, bro.
Yeah, even now, like, I don't even know how to change it to a Liverpool team. This thing's not even that great, Where do I change it to Liverpool?
What are you trying to see?
Liverpool's lineup. No, just Liverpool's lineup.
It should just be there under.
Where, bro?
You know what's so mad? I've never done it on computer. That's why.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, is that not it?
I have to do it like this. But obviously, yeah, so we started, and obviously we saw Trent in that 6. I found it very interesting that Gakpo played in that 8 position where Szoboszlai played in the first game. We saw McAllister play now, and he was much deeper in this game. I don't know about you guys. I know we're jumping a lot. Okay, it's pre-season, but what did you guys think? Speaking of McAllister, what did you guys think? Because McAllister, for me, was so deep. Yeah, he just wasn't as effective as he was in that first game.
There was points where I forgot he was on the pitch. That I think we were saying during the game that, bro, that he's just in effect. He's not doing anything. Again, like you said, I don't want to jump. It is pre-season, but that's a player for me that has to be closer to goal if you're going to get the best out of him. You even saw it with the Burnies. He had a Pascal Gross next to him. He had a Caicedo. But have I froze?
Huh?
Did I freeze?
Yeah, you have. Yeah.
You're frozen, yeah, but
Can you hear me though?
yeah, we can hear.
Yeah, yeah.
Right, well, let me just carry on because it looks mad on my screen. But you saw with McAllister, even at Brighton, I know it's a different system, whatnot, but with Pascal Gross, with a Caicedo, whatnot, for me, he's a player that needs to be close to goal. And like you said, JJ, we saw him deeper, and he was just in effect. There was a good 20 minutes. The only way I realized he was on the pitch was when the commentator. By the way, our channel has just the deadest commentators. I just thought I'd add that because commentary is a big part of the game. I know that's a bit irrelevant, but I just thought I'd chuck that in. But until he said, McAllister's on the ball, I was like, bro, like, what he's playing. But yeah, I just think with Trent in that lone six and McAllister being deeper to somewhat help him out, it nullified his game. But other than that, for me, the most of the positives were the front line because the midfield for me today was just a bit meh. And I know you were saying yesterday, you and JJ mentioned Gakpo in the 8 role, but we've been mentioning this. Remember, we even branded him the name Gat Linton. We've been saying this from about December and January that Klopp will sometimes play him there, and that kind of is testament to Gakpo. He has that profile, that stature. He's tall, he's quite physical, he's got a good touch. So you could say somewhat accustomed to that, but we didn't buy you for that position. I mean, this is what I mean. He's just trying to fit in certain players, but yeah, in terms of McAllister, again, with more games, it's only a second game. Like Ish said, he did look like he was blowing. Maybe he needs to get Mark to scratch. But yeah, I thought he was just quiet today, really. Don't know what you think, Ish, but yeah.
For me, I don't understand. Like I mentioned it a minute ago, but what's confusing me is either our recruitment is bad and we're just misprofiling players, or Klopp's system is so rigid in what he's doing. I think it's probably a bit of both, but he signed Gakpo thinking he was he was a left winger predominantly for PSV. Yeah, I know he played up front a bit in the World Cup, but he's predominantly left winger. Signed him, moving to false 9. Cool. That was kind of making sense. I was with that. Now we're playing man in the 8. I'm just like, okay, cool. So you signed a guy and you've now moved in 2 positions since you signed him. All right, cool. McAllister. Again, not using him how he's meant to be used. Like, what if you're trying to get the best out of these guys and we've got limited funds? Like, either buy different players that's going to fit your system, or try and change the system a little bit. Trent is not a lone 6. I know he might have done it in the academy, but we've not seen any proof of this. You've just moved him from right back to inverted. He's played as an 8 for England as well. Why are you moving these guys around so much? Just find a system that's going to suit as many of your players as possible and try and get them in. We've seen the same with Nunez as well. Spent half of last season chilling on the left wing. Now you see he's playing up front. He's still not my kind of player at all, but you can see now he's more of a threat. He's not just chilling out on the left doing nothing for 75 minutes and getting hooked. So I want to see Klopp at least try and find a system that's going to suit these players a bit more, because I think season's coming up pretty soon. Chelsea are looking all right pre-season. They're looking like they're starting to like get a bit of a thing going together. Some of their signings are starting to click a bit quicker. And for me, that first game of the season, as it stands right now, they look way more ready than we do. They look way, way more ready than we do. I've only seen like 2 of their games as well. I think they've only played 2. They look much more ready than we do. So it's not too much to get worried about right now, but I want to see some sort of plan from Klopp. At the moment, I'm just seeing like just any 11 players that are available in a 4-3-3 and just saying, yeah, go out there and do something. Even if it's just making 11 subs at half time, it's just like
cool. So if I had to touch that G, yeah, what would you say today's biggest issue was? Because I don't want to really like analyze the game too much because it is pre-season at the end of the day. But yeah, what's the thing that we have out there or what's going on in this game that's been such a massive difference in comparison to the first one? Because if we had to, I don't want to speak for you, but objectively speaking, our first game of pre-season was better than our second, and you would have hoped it would have been the other way around.
I think, yeah, it's. I think someone put a comment. I'm just trying to find it. It's Klopp with the shoehorning. Ish just said it there. It's the shoehorning players into just positions. You know, if this is the formation, then you got to play this position. Like Trent's got to be here, and that player's got to be there. Again, as you said, it's so difficult because it's pre-season. So like without looking at it too deeply, but this is all we have to go on to be able to judge these players, to know whether or not they're going to be, somewhat ready kind of thing, for the season. And obviously they reference Chelsea and stuff like that. But yeah, it's just putting players into position. I can't remember which one of you mentioned it, maybe yourself or maybe all three of you did actually, about McAllister. Like Rom said it there, like we didn't even notice, man, like in the game, but for some reason in that first game, we noticed him quite a lot. It's because of the positioning that he was actually in, which was his actual true position to play and where you're going to see the best out of him. People keep telling me about the Trent thing, and again, we spoke about that as well. Again, Trent, another player who, again, it's preseason, so I'm not trying to go too deep on him, but it is just a case of you're putting him in a position where it's like he's not going to be effective at all, like in that kind of position, in that kind of role. You're just not going to see it from someone like Trent. Like that's just not what his game is about. His game isn't about, when teams are pressing and stuff like that, you want man to be doing up Iniesta and try to glide his way through and pop it. Like he ain't gonna do none of that. That's just not his game, which is absolutely fine because we know what his game is, So to have him in that sixth position doing some of the stuff that he was doing in midfield, I thought he was so poor today. Like genuinely, I thought he was poor, in that position. McAllister, it just looked like, he might have been blowing. So yes, he might have just been tired. But even the role that he was playing, it just felt like it was useless. The Bradleys, again, I'm struggling to see what is the big thing about Bradley. I mean, everyone talks about it, but the reality is Donny's come up from League One to the Premier League to play at Liverpool at this elite level. And we're saying, he can just step in and boom, 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 as if he can just translate, all of those things. I don't think it really works like that in football. I rarely ever see that, someone to come up from League One to, one of the best teams supposedly, in Europe. I find that weird, but ultimately he's there. It's just the roles that Klopp is asking these guys to do, man. We saw it with Nunez. That's how I know it is the role of the teams, because we saw when Nunez played, Liverpool just reverted to kick it and run. That is Nunez's game. Kick it into space, he runs. Sunday league settings, but guess what? He seems to be a master at them type of settings. Get him in that. Rom's mentioned it before in the group chat. He's not going to be a ball or anything like that, but get him into these type of positions. Maybe we can start seeing, a little something from him. Ask him to start linking up play. It's not going to work. Gakpo, non-existent, and we'll get into all of that anyways.
Cool. So you might as well just start with the game first, man. You might as well start with the game first. Obviously, lineup there. We've spoken about the lineup. Diaz playing, right? And now there's been a lot of talk about Diaz. I mean, we spoke on the show yesterday, G, about Diaz being at his best. So I'm going to check this one out of you again. Do you think Diaz showed in that game or in that first half why, if he can play to that level, why he's a first option potentially as a left winger? I know we haven't seen that consistently from him, and I know it's still pre-season, but did you see anything in that made you go, oh, okay, that's why, that's the Diaz I want to see him, as opposed to like the Diaz we saw a game ago?
Nah, not really. I think the Diaz we saw today is the Diaz I've kind of always seen, from him. Obviously got his goal today, which he will do on odd occasions. He'll grab a goal, Good finish as well, by the way. That was a very, very well taken goal. All the goals, I think, were actually pretty decent finishes. But yeah, in regards to him, nah, not really. Not really. There wasn't anything that I saw that made me think, what I did see from him, though, is he's just different to what we do have. So in certain games, I do think it can work. And that's always what I've been with Diaz. I mean, if you could let the guy off the reins a little bit, then maybe you might see little bits of what we saw, kind of today. But to say starter, nah, I still wouldn't put him in my start. Today didn't really convince me that, you know what? This is what I need to see from Diaz on a consistent enough basis to warrant playing. But then we saw with the rest of the team, because of the positions everyone else was playing, his role was a little bit different, kind of thing. Usually we might have Curtis Jones potentially on that side who kind of helps him out a little bit. I didn't really feel like we saw anybody on his side realistically help it. It was more Gakpo floating kind of thing, coming out of his position to help him and, stuff like that. But to say, does he start? I'm like, nah, you're not really doing anything to like, I feel like Nunez, the guy got 3 goals in 2 games. I feel like he's doing more to convince me maybe you could start if we played to your type of strengths. But Diaz, nah. I feel like bench is the best place for you right now, coming on in games to change it up. and be a different option, I feel like that's a solid option to have off the bench. Though.
Cool. Ish. I know G's saying, look, he don't see, Luis Diaz starting. I want to track something out. Are you playing devil's advocate? Would you say that Diaz is a better presser than Jota?
Not really, no. I don't think I wouldn't say Diaz's pressing is like one of his massive traits. I always think with Diaz is on the ball. It's when he gets the ball, he comes alive. It's not very like, I don't think he's a great with his movement in terms of off the ball like a Jota is. I feel like he gets the ball and then he reacts when he gets it. He's very much like a Vinny, but Vinny's actually got better movement as well. But when Vinny gets the ball, then things start happening around him. I kind of see him more like that. Whereas a Jota will press on the ball. He'll either create space with his pressing, or he'll make movements off the ball for someone to find him from midfield or like across from Trent. A lot of his goals have come from Trent assists, where he's kind of found space back post. Where I feel like he got that in his game. And then, with Diaz's pressing as well. He's a decent presser. I would say like he's not as bad as like a Nunez. I think Nunez's pressing really needs some work, especially when he's playing out wide. But for me, Diaz, when I see him, I just think, like we've all said before in previous streams, like the games where he's done better is when we've been a goal down or a man down, and it's just like Klopp's just like, fuck it, just go out there and play and try and get me a goal kind of thing. I always think he's going to be that kind of player for us. So for me, if it's purely pressing, I'd rather see Jota out there. For me, my front three going into the Chelsea game, it's not really changed. Even though Nunez still go Jota, Gakpo, and Salah.
Do you know what? Just to add on to Ish's point, your initial question for Ish, I think Diaz is a quicker presser, but Jota is a more intelligent presser. That Jota knows when to press, where Diaz kind of just goes gung ho, but there's no real intelligence with it. He's just pressing for pressing's sake. And there's been many times Diaz will press and it's getting popped around in. And there's times where Jota, where he's more intelligent, he'll press, but he'll press in a certain way. Like he might arc his run, which makes them maybe have to play out wider. I've seen it many times. So I think to answer that question, let's say first 10, 20 minutes of the game, maybe Diaz is more effective, but I think overall it'll be Jota because he's just more smart with it. But I think G made a very good point, which I've said on a few streams lately myself. I don't think Diaz has done enough to start, but he just gives us a different dimension, and we literally don't have a player like him. You know what? The only player you could say, and but before anyone gets onto, I'm not comparing they're complete different levels, but the only player that we have stylistically similar to him is a Ben Doak, and I think that's what Klopp was kind of experimenting in the first half. Like, let's start with two out-and-out wingers. So let's be honest. Recent memory, the Salahs, the Manes, the Jotas, and that, they're all inside forwards. They're not touchline wingers, as you say, old-fashioned wingers, but where a Ben Doak and Diaz are. And the way I saw it, I think Klopp was setting up as in, the second half was more hit the channels, play it into Salah, play it into Nunez. I think first half, what he wanted to do is he wanted patterns of play, then play it out wide to try and then get into Gakpo, because many times I saw it to feet, and we don't normally play to feet, but whenever we got the ball, it was let's find Diaz, let's find Ben Doak. And how many times do you see Ben Doak beat his man in the first half an hour? About 3 or 4 times. Diaz as well. Diaz committed a few fouls. So I think Klopp's game plan, from what I was seeing in that first half, was to more go at them, but not by hitting it in channels. Let's actually go at them by feet and actually try and penetrate their fullbacks. But yeah, to answer your question, I still don't think Diaz has done enough to start. The goal was excellent. He was causing their right back problems, but it's just that when the season starts, how much of these consistent games you're going to have? And G was alluding to earlier, he might score 1 in about 7, and then the next 5 or 6, they're okay. They're 5, 6 out of 10s, but they're not what we really need. What we're expecting, in them wide areas. But overall, that first half of the 2 wide men, I know, JJ, you're not the biggest fan of Doak, but I actually think Doak and Diaz did well first half. I think output could have been better. I think we should have scored more. But in terms of what they were told to do in the instruction, I think them two had a decent first half, man.
Yeah, I think speaking on Doak, I've said it before. I don't think in terms of I haven't seen anything so far that's made me go, oh my God, this guy's a wonder kid talent, right? But I like his determination. Like, he's not scared to get the ball and run at you constantly, every single time. Run you, try to tap it past you. And you got to have some bravery to do that. Do you know what I mean? Because you might lose the ball, you might get knocked off when he is young. So I like that about him. Now it's just about obviously him being able to finish. But yeah, it was good, man. Yeah, who can we chat about? Speaking on, let's look at the backline before we move forwards. I know we're going backwards to go forwards. We had a backline obviously of Konate, Virgil, and Robbo. Obviously, I started back three when we're in possession. I want Ish to chat to me about Robbo, man, because Robbo.
Jerry, can you get the average positions up? While Ish is talking, I just want to see this like while Ish is speaking. Like.
Robbo. Yeah, Robbo's been that guy at left back. He's now been asked to do a different role, and it's interesting. So I'm gonna put this out there.
It's looking scary.
But look, what's he like? Robbo, yeah. The thing is a Robbo. He's one of the ones where
if you can't get it, can't.
Because my worry. If you're looking at this against these weak oppositions, what the hell's going to happen when the season starts? When the intensity is higher? Forget intensity, actually, when the players are just better. So not only you have to deal with intensity, you've got to deal with intelligence. Again, I'm not trying to jump him too much. And I know it's second game of pre-season, but Robbo's what, and the things we've been speaking about this, but Robbo he's worrying me now. It's been like this at least from before World Cup. With
Robbo, like he is looking a bit spooky at the moment. He's looking like one who might be like, this isn't just a blip in form. This might just be him dropping his level. But
yeah.
I've got to look at Klopp here as well. You've got to play to a guy's strengths. Like you're asking man to do this inverted, playing on the halfway line pretty much. This is not what Robbo's never been that guy who's super comfy on the ball, and you're getting him to play in those positions where it's more congested. Like he's better where he's kind of on the touchline and he's just getting it, either playing a 1-2 and making a run down the line, or just getting it and whipping it in. So you're asking guys to do stuff like that comfortable. He's never been comfortable doing this. You're asking Konate to play in that right hand channel pretty much on his own, getting a ball, trying to drive into midfield. Like this is not what these guys are about. Konate's never been that guy where he's been great on the ball. He's an athlete, kind of out and out defender. So with Robbo, for me, it's like he has dropped off definitely. But again, why is Klopp asking these guys to do these things that they're just not comfortable doing? That's my only question. That's my only question on the Robbo thing.
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it? Because in that first half, I know he had a chance quite early on where he could have shot and he's kind of squared it and scuffed it. But you saw going forwards, he's still got that 1-2 on him where it can be very, very effective. He times that 1-2 very well.
That's his game.
He can get in behind. But when he's dropping into these central areas and he's playing on this halfway line, as we're seeing here, alongside Trent, and trying to like dictate play, it does look spooky, man. And it begs the question: is a certain other centre back we've got at the club, is he slowly emerging? And is there a reason why he's getting a lot of minutes this season in Kwanzaa? I mean, we can chat about that later. But Roms, with Robertson, then how does he fit this new system? Like at his best, how does he fit this system? What we're looking at right now, back three. Looks like a back two, to be fair, but you know, back three.
Again, I don't want to be too premature in what I'm saying, but in my opinion, he just doesn't. And this is what worries me. This for me is, I think, what Ish said, is more a Klopp problem. For me, it's worrying is the only way he becomes accustomed to this is if we carry on playing this system. But I think depending who the incomings are, I don't necessarily think we're going to set up like this for the start of the season. I think we're going to revert back to type. I can just see Klopp reverting back to type, and then Robbo being in that natural back four. I think that suits him more. But I think in this position, JJ, I don't really see how it works in this kind of, when we're on the offense, this kind of inverted role. And for me, look, we've seen Robbo at his peak for about, I'm not going to say past season, but from about 2017, I'd say, to about 2021 at the peak of his powers. I just think it's what Ish is saying. I think he just slowly declining. And what was a big indicator for me was first 5 minutes, he kind of got dispossessed. The guy ran past him and he just looked like he couldn't catch up to him at all. He looked like he sorry, but he looks like he looked like he couldn't get back. And for me, it's his reading of the game now. And this is crazy to say. What, Robbo's 29, 30 now? I think he's one of them ages. It's crazy to say. Normally with age comes wisdom. Like your understanding of the game gets better, but he just seems to always be quite out of position. Even going forward. You know what's worrying about Robert ultimately for me? He's not looking good at anything. There's not even one part of his game where you can say, you know what, you're still at a certain level. For me, going forward, he's not looking the same. Recovering, he's not looking the same. Understanding the game, he's not. Reading the game. And I just feel, I don't want to jinx him. You see how last season, let's say a lot of things were coming down the right-hand side and teams were targeting Trent. I think this season it could be the other way, I think, actually, it could be worse. They might just think, fuck it, let's attack both wings. But I think they might shift it because teams are going to want to do things differently and maybe confuse us. But I can see them targeting Robbo's side now because they're seeing certain deficiencies. It's not just us as fans seeing this. You think that the coaches, staff, and the teams of other clubs aren't identifying these things in the pre-match warm-ups and whatnot. So I don't know, man. And you could say it's a bit of fatigue. Maybe Robbo's just, I don't know, sick and tired. Not sick and tired, I would say. That's the wrong words. But maybe he's just... I feel like in football, we've mentioned it many times, you kind of need to revitalize yourself. You need a newer system. You need something new. But I think where Robbo's declining in his ability as well, I don't think he can survive in this system. Me personally, I think we're going to have to revert back to type to even see a somewhat decent Robbo. But in this, I can't see it, JJ.
But if we're reverting back to type, doesn't that go against what Klopp has said? Klopp's been adamant speaking about, this season, especially in preseason, 3 sessions a week, 3 sessions a day, a lot of intensity, working on tactics, working on formations. It's 2 games now where we've played very similar formations.
And have we seen anything tactically that different? I personally haven't seen that much difference from like the end of last season to this.
I mean, look, we haven't, right? I mean, do you think that's partly then? I know I'm jumping the gun. I'm thinking as I'm speaking. So I'm thinking. Do you think that's partly down to the fact that we've lost 2 midfielders that Klopp thought he could rely on going into the season? He thought they'll be part of the squad, and now that we haven't got them, he's now trying to fit these new players in positions where he didn't think he'd have to put them and that type of thing.
But how about if I throw it back at you? Yeah, do you think if we sign like Lavia,
that's my personal dude.
sorry.
And a pause on
my brain's still in work mode, so I'm like talking a bit aggressively. So do you think then if we had signed whoever DM, I don't care who it is, let's just say Lavia for the sake of arguments, yeah, and maybe if Curtis Jones was available and Harvey Elliott was available, let's just say one of the 2 or if not 2 of them play, yeah. Do you think, looking at that average positions, do you think the average positions will be any different if any of these people were on the pitch? Like, if you do, like, where do you think the average position would be a little bit different or whatever? Because to me, it looks like this is the same average position we've always had. Robbo in no man's land, got 2 centre backs, you got no right back, you've got 3 DMs for some weird, if not slightly 4, but if you want to say 2 DMs and then maybe 2 central midfielders, you've got Gakpo in whatever position that is, and then Jota and Diaz and Doak in those kind of forward areas, kind of thing. Like I don't see what would be so different if we just had new players. We keep talking about it, and no one wants to say anything because everyone, as you mentioned yesterday, Klopp came out 1-2 podcast. Everyone's like, yeah, let's trust this guy. This is what we're going to see. So I'm wondering, is anything going to be any different in what we're trying to achieve and what we're trying to achieve on that pitch? I see 0 difference. I think it'll be the exact same. Unless you think obviously differently in terms of why, and if it is, like, I would like to know why, because this is this, I think K-Mac said it before, or someone else said it in the chat earlier on. This average position, it's the same thing. Like, we've seen this like over and over again. Robbo, like, what are you doing, bro? Like, why are you in that position? And then we mentioned it yesterday on the show about, like, when I was talking about having a DM, someone who can slot back in and help out, because when the ball gets played over the top of Konate, for example, it just changed. When the ball gets played over the top of like Konate or whatever, we're in a position where it's like, well, that side of the pitch is a little bit kind of, it's kind of open now. But then Roms is just saying that they might start attacking the other side, because obviously Robbo's on such a walkabouts now that side is now open. Van Dijk isn't as intense, as he was. He isn't as scary as we want to say. He ain't got that aura. So people are going to use that side as another, another chink in their kind of arsenal, another chink, sorry, in our kind of armory, where they know that's an area where we can exploit Liverpool. Like, this team are in, I don't even know what league they're in, but they were playing as if like they had 6 preseason games and their first game was tomorrow and they were ready to go. But then we're going to use the fact that it's preseason for these kind of performances and the way that we're playing. That's what bugs me, is the way that you're playing is the exact same. People keep telling me, yeah, Liverpool played this formation, that formation last season. And I'm like, yeah, see, the problem with all of this talk about playing these supposable new formations, the team will continue playing in the exact same positions because that is what the manager's asking them. So line up 4-6-0 if you want. Line up 4-3-1-2. It makes zero difference because the players are doing the same things. We're not changing anything. Like, there's no right back. Okay, cool. There's no right back. So does that not mean that? And sorry, I'm going on a bit of a rant, but just before
no. Talk. We need to hear this. The people need to hear this. Man.
You're saying.
Guys, make sure we're smashing a like. G's dropping some mad gems. We've got 100 people in the building. Make sure, I want to see 100 likes, man. I'm pretty sure when I checked, it was about 50 likes. So you guys are taking the mickey. So please make sure we're smashing the likes. I
want to see 70% to the likes, man. Like, I'm not seeing that at the moment. I'm seeing 100 people in this building, but it's like you've got 3. If you've got the 2 centre backs that we can obviously see that we saw there in the average position, brother. If like Robertson, bro, if you can't play that position, that's fine, bro. But Klopp, get your head out your ass and get someone who can play in that back 3, so then we don't look so exposed on that side. Guess what? If Conor Bradley or anybody, Trent, is going to play on that right inverted role, I beg you, pick something to do. Like, pick whatever you're trying to do, because all you're doing is just leaving space. And I keep saying it, transition. We are getting killed. It doesn't matter. People keep saying, yeah, man, buy 5 midfielders and we'll look better. No, we will look better on the ball, obviously, but we've never had a problem on the ball. That's never been an issue. It's how we play. And how we play, if it's not going to change, you can buy Verratti, Kimmich, Ram. I know you love Slotterback. You can buy Slotterback and all of these people. It's not going to make any difference because the team is still playing the exact same way, which leaves you open for these kind of games where, yes, we will win games 4-2 like we did in the first game. But today, when you've got a team that's a bit more clinical, you will lose you will draw or you will lose a game against better opposition. So I'm just wondering why everyone keeps saying to me, yeah, we just need to sort out the midfielder. We just need one more midfielder. I'm like, forget what we need. Liverpool can go into the season with the same players that they've got today. I guarantee you, if they change the way that they played, I guarantee it with all my heart, and I'll die on that hill, that their team will just play better because they're playing in a different way, which doesn't allow for these stupid transitions. So play Conor Bradley, play Trent, play Kwanzaa, play fucking Dope, play any of them. It doesn't make a difference, bro. But we're doing the same things all the time. It's boring now. That's why I was like, at the beginning of the show, I said, bro, I don't even care because it's like, this manager is doing the same things, but nobody wants to say that because they see different players. They see Szoboszlai, they start seeing McAllister, and we win 4-2, and everyone looks amazing. And I'm like, bro, we're doing the same things. We just got more quality than them. So, of course, we're going to win. But today, they were just more clinical. So they were able to score the goals. Like, this team is in division whatever. Like, I don't even know what league they're in. No disrespect to them. But are you trying to tell me that we couldn't find a way with 9-10 of our first team players in that first half where we shouldn't be ripping these lot with beautiful play, scoring goals for fun, Nunez playing off the shoulder and all it? Like, come on, bro. Like, this is just dead now.
Can I just jump in then?
Yeah, not
in the first half, a lot of cool. If you want to take positives, a lot of people saying with our stronger 11 we didn't concede, but I'm looking at the flip side. We shouldn't have just scored 1 goal. I think you're spot on with what you said. We should have been dispatching these lot. And you're right. I think where we brought in 2 signings, and yes, the quality's got better. If you're still doing the same things, you're not gonna excel at a mad rate. It's only gonna get slightly better. But I think Ish brought up a great point earlier. It's getting to the point now. We know we need two midfielders, but it's getting to the point as You know, we went into the transfer window thinking, yes, we know we need a centre back or centre backs, but midfield is more the priority. Now it's got to the point where midfield and centre back, they're on the same level of priorities now. It's not like one's higher than the other. They're both as important as one another now. It's crazy. And just to go one further as well, I know this is more with planning and with the preseason tour and whatnot, but I was saying to you lot in the group chat, why I'm worried now as well is because if you look at the level of opposition we're playing, bar Bayern Munich, this for me doesn't give us the best preparation for this season, because for me, at least your penultimate game in your last game should be against good opposition. So going into that first Premier League game, we're ready. The fact we keep playing, and you know, another thing I don't want to see in our next couple games, I don't want to see the whole 11 rotated. I know you have to freshen players up in that, but kind of stick with the first 11 majority of the 90. I'm not saying the whole 90, but even if you want to make them wholesale changes at the 70th minute, I would hear it. But the team needs rhythm now, because the league it's not like the league starting a month away, 2 months away now. It's a couple weeks. And I just feel I can see us going into that Chelsea game like, oh my days, what has hit us? I was saying to you in the group chat, for me, I don't really like these wholesale changes anymore. Yes, the first 2 games, cool. But against Leicester and the Bayerns, and I can't remember who we played before Chelsea, but I think it's another German team. Against them teams, I kind of want to see the same 11 for the majority of the game.
But like, big up to Laverberg, because actually proper comment is actually quite interesting here. Obviously, excuse the language from him. I guess he's getting frustrated, but he's saying, look, it's effing pre-season. Some of these kids wouldn't have got the minutes, but did today. When we're talking about the kids that wouldn't have got minutes, what kids wouldn't have got minutes? Doak, we're looking at as a first teamer. Well, someone that's going to be part in and around the first team anyway. So he probably would have got minutes if this was a Europa League game. Bradley, right now, we could have easily just played Gomez at right back. We could have found someone else. Trent could have played at right back, and we could have played Morton in midfield. We could have played whoever. I don't know if Morton's still available or not. Bajcetic, I know he's injured. Actually, Bajcetic injured, or is he cool now?
He's coming back.
I don't know. You know, that's a good question.
Okay,
he was doing like an individual session the other day, but I think he'll be fit for that start of the season. But he's not an agent.
Yeah, so I mean, look, there was options in terms of who we go and play at right back. I think there were options. We had about 3 or 4 options in terms of there's Bradley, there's Gomez, there's Trent, and there's who else can play at right back? Beck, is he back or is he playing? Is he a left back? Yeah, God knows.
Left back.
Yeah, left back. Yeah. So cool. But my point is that we had about 2 to 3 options to go and play at right back. In midfield, we had a few options to play in DM. I'm not sure what's going on with Morton, but I know that Trent was obviously an option there. We've played Clarkson there now twice as well. We could have started with Clarkson in the DM and Trent at right back, and Trent doing the inverted thing. Trent started in the DM for me, which suggests to me that Trent's like going to be starting. And that currently, if Trent's going to be starting right now as a DM, the player that we're playing at right back is Clarkson.
You mean Bradley?
Bradley, sorry.
We sold Clarkson, didn't we?
Yeah, I think it's Clark. Clark. But look again. And big up. I don't know who that comment was from about the second preseason and Rethinking. Look,
Laverbird,
again, Laverbird. Yeah, big up Laverbird, man. Like, 100% agree with you. And I don't think anyone's looking at it like, oh my goodness, like we drew to think. I don't like. Well, for me anyway, and I'm not going to speak for these guys, but it's probably the same. I don't think we even care like that in terms of the result or whatever. Obviously, that's just more banter for rivals. That's calm. Let them do their thing. For me, it's about how we are playing, though. That's all I actually care about. If I'm seeing banging football, but then I can see maybe because of fitness and stuff like that, like it's just not really no problem. I'll be like, nah, we're actually playing dope football, though. You know what I'm saying? Like I can't even get onto that about playing good football. And we saw in the first game where there was certain good link-ups and stuff like that. You know, Gakpo, Jota, and you know, Scanlon got to play a little bit. We saw some like little decent things in that first game, but we kind of saw the same thing, which was quality just told in the end. we were drawing 2-2 until the quality guys came into effect. No problem. Cool. We move into this game. And you start the game so strongly with the 11 that you put out. What I'm then expecting to see, regardless of where you are at with your fitness and whatever, I'm sorry, but you guys are supposed to be Champions League winning, Premier League winning guys. Like, who are supposed to be showing everybody are coming off an absolutely shite season. I expect to see quite a lot more just more in the performance wise. Again, the goals and stuff, we can just put that down to certain other things. Maybe don't have his shooting boots on. We saw Jota miss a chance where it's like, I'm actually good with that. I'll laugh, but it's like, whatever. Yeah, I mean, that those can come and go in a season. I'm looking at how you're playing.
Off the back of his last game, sorry, just to interject. If there's anyone that's allowed to miss that chance right now, it is Jota. Do you know what I mean?
Like man's not gonna get like I don't like again, like I said, it's just more banter. That's not serious like analysis. I don't care about that kind of stuff. But I'm looking at how you're playing though. How is the team setting up? What are the patterns of play? What does Klopp want them to do in and out of possession? Those are the kind of things that we're trying to look at. And when you're looking, again, the heat map shows it, the average position shows it, but also just watch with your eyes and stuff like that. We saw it in both games where it's the same thing over and over again, which then gets you a little bit worried because if we're going to do the same things, people keep talking about, winning the league. I'm like, right, the only way that would happen is Arsenal, City, United, Newcastle, whatever, would have to be dog shit in order for us to be able to get into that kind of position. Otherwise, I don't get what we see in the team to then say, well, Liverbird, you asked about players. Jerry just said it. Ben Doak, Connor Bradley, Clark. Like, these guys are going to get minutes this season. Like, they're going to get minutes. So we have to look at them and see if they can pattern up and play. And just, not even if they're playing well, just more, all right, what does he offer? All right, you know what? When he is down that right-hand flank, he is actually doing the bits that we need him to do. Maybe just today he was just a little bit. That's no problem. Ben Doak, I think, is a lively player. I do like him, and I think he'll get his minutes. He's very inexperienced, but I think he'll get the time, to be able to bed himself in. But everything else, I'm just like, brother, the senior players are all like, that second half was just a bit like, bro, what am I watching? Like, defenders can't defend. You've got players moving in mad positions. Like, Simicast, bro, this is a preseason game. Why are you getting so mad? Like, I don't understand what is going on. Like, I really don't understand, bro.
He's tapped, That Simicast guy is tapped. I don't know what.
Bro, super tapped, bro. Like, why are you so angry?
Liverbird saying second damn game for Klopp to see Trent Alexander-Arnold in the sixth with an attacking right back playing right back, which we've always played. We've always had an attacking right back play right back, but anyway. Do you not know what preseason is for? Exactly, for us to analyze the players also. None of us know what formation we start until new players come in. Yeah, until new players come in. Currently, there's no new players coming in. So there's no point talking about, but if we had Decore in there, then we'd be playing that. We ain't got Decore though. Do you know what I mean? Like, if I'd done this last season, we should have been talking about Bellingham then. We should have been talking about Bellingham. Yeah, if we had Bellingham in the 8 role, who's going to give us this? We ain't got him. So we've got to play with what we've got. And currently, Trent, if we don't bring anyone in by the time we go and play Chelsea, or let's say we bring someone in but he's not fit, Trent's starting that DM. Don't get it twisted. We wouldn't have gone and played 2 games now on the bounce. Trent playing in the DM role, because there could have been another DM that plays that, and Trent could have played that inverted right fullback role. Just to add to that, Jerry, time is of the essence. That the Liverbird, who used to say them players that are coming in, because I do think we will sign one minimum. I'm not going to even go and be ambitious and say 2 centimeters, but I think we'll sign one minimum. Let's say that centimeter that 6 we sign is right at the end of August, and we've already played 2 Premier League fixtures, and let's say we've lost both of them. What then? Just put something, and they still have to fit into the system. They still have to warm to the system. Do you know what I mean? So as it stands, that's what JJ's saying. We don't have that players. Yes, the new players are coming in, but there's no guarantee when they're going to come in. Look, we've been linked to Lavia was a cert the last 2-3 weeks, and he's still not here. Now it's looking like we're higgling and haggling over the price tag. So yes, we will bring in players, but it depends when. That as it stands, we don't have a DM, in my opinion. We all know Trent isn't a DM. Yeah, he can play there due to his qualities, but he's not a DM. But when you look around, it is spooky. Who can play that role to a certain level? The only guy is Trent as to why he's playing there.
But for me, it's not even about like even forget Trent. Like Trent in that position, Roms is right, he can play it. Like, if you just ask someone to play in that position. But like, I'm saying, when you play Trent in that position, you get 0 from him. Like, you don't get any, you don't gain anything from him being there. Like, him being there is just, he's a player who can play that position, if that makes sense. Like, I'm not seeing, it's the old thing of what we used to say about like, when Klopp gets these type of players, these technical guys, and whatever you want to say about them. Like, he just seems to not be able to utilize them properly. You know, Thiago, Curtis Jones, and all that kind of stuff. It's the same thing here. When I see him in that position, forget even today. Cool. You know what? Today was today. In that first game when we won that game, I saw the same things that I saw today. Nothing. Like zero from like his stats probably looked. And I see people talking about his stats probably looked amazing. Probably kept the ball for time. He probably knocked the ball. That's all I ever hear is the stat, which is fair enough. No problem. So cool. We'll move on to that. Have those same stats in a game where you play shit. What do the stats look like now? That's what I want to know. Because the stats are probably the same. Passing accuracy is probably high. Maybe he done bare long balls. Maybe he intercepted the same. Maybe he recovered. Like all of those things, I'm more than happy with all of that stuff. That's cool. But in a game where you play shit, those stats don't mean anything. Like they don't mean nothing to me, especially when they're so similar to say your first game. So then I'm like, okay, that's now the true measure when I've seen the exact two kind of same performances, but in one game you were perceived to be really good, in the second game you were perceived to be really bad. What are we now doing? And this is what I'm saying. We're not seeing Trent in that double pivot like position where we can really utilize man. So I just want to know.
Can you put up Jamrock's comment? Because this is what I've been saying. Like, we can go through the tactical side and we know there's a lot to be done, but it's even the opposite. You know, cool. You know, let's say we were over in America.
That comment made me laugh. Guys, read it out.
Yeah.
Jamrock saying, would have been good if LFC played in the US summer tournament or play some of the teams that are in the Bundesliga. Instead, we are playing teams that Klopp used to support as a kid.
This is my point. Like, let's say this preseason, because we've had preseasons like this. I think you were even saying you're at one of the games when we beat Barca.
Yeah.
What, you went to the US?
No. Bro, man ain't definitely not flying over to watch Liverpool play. When it was in Wembley. When we played Barcelona in Wembley.
Oh, okay, yeah, I remember.
Let's say.
But we look sick. We look like Barcelona, man.
It was crazy, isn't it? Let's say we had a preseason where we're playing, I don't know, an Inter, a Real Madrid, an AC. I think they call it the International Championship, whatever. That's always held in America, yeah. And we were losing like this. I would accept not losing, sorry, because we're not lost yet. You know what I mean? Like we were having these weird performances and results. I'd get it. The opposition's better or on our level, and the young players are actually learning. In these type of games, it's kind of like this is kind of like an unrealistic audition because you're not going to be playing teams of this level. I feel like this is more on the recruitment side and Klopp and whatnot and our directors. They should have picked more challenging games because I do think this is going to have an effect of us going into the Premier League season. I honestly believe it. You're telling me Bayern Munich, you could say Leicester, though. I'll chuck in Leicester because as much as they've been relegated, it still will be a decent tempo. It'll still be a decent standard. But you're telling me Bayern Munich and Leicester are the two games out of our 6 that are the most challenging. I think you're spot on, Jamrock, man. I think the opposition needs to be higher as well because I feel like it'll be better for these young players.
The man's leaking goals, like, bro, the goals that we're leaking, yeah, I'm just like, bro, like you're not even leaking goals where I'm like, nah, but yo, these lot are playing like you're little mini Barcelona here, old school, like Man City, bro. We're leaking goals where you're just like, if this was even just a better team, we'd leak like 5 of these. But we said that last season towards like the whole season.
Do you think Klopp's tried to do this in steps though? So we play teams that are kind of worse in quality down the bottom because they're going to give us a run out there, head in their pre-season schedule, and they're flexible enough where you can go and try stuff out, right? So let's use Liverbird's kind of perspective on this. Let's say we're just trying Trent out in the DM, right? But then as we go into pre-season, obviously we're facing Leicester, Bayern Munich, then we ramp up the level of who we're playing against and start to solidify who's playing where, and we get closer to that kind of final starting 11 or the starting 11 for the Chelsea game. If that's the case, then do you think Klopp's looking at it thinking, I don't care if we're conceding goals. I'm trying to work on stuff like the press. I'm trying to look at the smaller details first and try iron those out before looking at like the whole actual result on whether we won or lost or whatever like that.
No, but this is what I'm saying though. Like I don't care like the result. I agree with you. I think maybe he is looking at it like that. But then, what did you like? The team conceded 6 goals due to let's take out all the banging goals that we saw. Some of them were just through transition. So then I'm like, what did you even see? Like, what do you notice from these games that you could potentially be like I would like I said, I would understand if it was like like the goal they scored in the first game, like that banging goal that he scored from the corner.
It's not from pattern of the play. It was literally from counters and transition. If
You
you
can
look at
boom
all of the goals, pretty much. Yeah.
today, yeah.
Yeah, they were literally all in transition.
What did I say? What did I say in the group when I said, bro, it's that like we were talking about midfielders and we was like, I was like, bro, the midfield, they're just not helping. The whole team is not pressing properly at that moment in time. But obviously, midfield and defense are looking kind of fugazi. Chance. Then they had another chance straight after that. It's like, bro, come on, bro. Like, I understand, again, the results don't really matter. And if it's going to be weldy goals, man can't stop those. I don't care about the like I said, the first game where they scored that banging goal from a corner, man can't stop those. So I'm not bothered about them type of goals. I'm more bothered about how we're conceding certain goals, and it is exactly a carbon copy of what the goals that we were conceding last season. So I'm just a bit worried in that kind of regards, where play Bayern Munich, I guarantee we'll play Bayern Munich, and I can guarantee we probably won't lose that game. I can probably say I don't even think we'll even lose that game, because it'll just be one of those type of games where all of a sudden the team will just be on 100. Bayern Munich might be, but this is all long because they've got their season starting super soon, and that they might drop a couple man, blah blah blah. Everyone's going to be like, yo, Liverpool look back, boom 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 boom, this that and the third. Play Chelsea first game, these times Jackson's doing up fucking to Van Dijk, and then we're just looking crazy again, and it's just repeat, rinse and repeat.
This is the last time I'm going to address Lava, but big up to yourself first of all, because you're commenting. But you're saying we're winding ourselves up. We're not. We're discussing the formations, the potential formations and positions and systems. There's other channels, you know, they're doing their reviews as well, their tactical analysis. If you don't like the way we're advocating our thoughts and feelings on the game, please, like you're not forced to go and stay here. It's the game isn't only about minutes and vocal messages. To go and say that is to say that Liverpool are a poorly run club that don't plan systematically and that are not cerebral in their thinking when they're looking at, all right, what are we planning for the next season? If you listen to that Klopp podcast, he spoke openly about what he wants his team to do, why he's doing 3 sessions a week. It's not only just to get the fitness in, it's to work on the small key things such as the gegenpress, when to press, link-up play, where's this player supposed to be? These are not just vocal messages. So we're looking at those things and seeing have these things improved from one game to the next.
Sorry to cut you, JJ. He even said himself on that pod that this is the most important part of the season. He was like, obviously he hopes to have more important games and stuff, but he said this preseason time is the most important part of the season. It's meant to set you up for the whole season tactically. You're getting new players in. This is where you're meant to integrate them into the team, implement your tactics. So this is important. None of us are sitting here like getting angry and saying Klopp out and stuff like that. But it is important to just say that it's just training and
you're selfish.
Yeah, I was gonna say, bro, speak for yourself, bro. Nah, but okay, you know what? Yeah, you know what? You know what? How about this then? If that's the case, right? If what you're saying, Liverbird, about not getting mad, fairs. That means Klopp's never allowed to come after any preseason match and mention anything good about what we did. He can't mention it because by your logic, it wouldn't make sense. Yeah, like it wouldn't make sense because then he's not allowed to. If Klopp isn't looking at all the things that we're talking about, he couldn't in the same breath mention anything good about what we did. As in, he mentioned all the good stuff that we did in the first game and all the bad stuff we did. If then the second game, he's going to mention. I haven't watched the interview kind of things. I don't know what he said, but he's not allowed to mention anything that he saw that was good because then it's a behind the closed doors friendly. So it doesn't matter. I mean, as you say, it's just for the runaround.
Put it this way. It's a behind the closed doors friendly that was televised with millions of people that subscribe to LFC TV Go. It was behind closed doors because Klopp spoke in that documentary about not wanting anyone in from near him. See what I mean? Like,
behind closed doors, technically it wasn't because behind closed doors normally isn't televised or anything like that. So you're kind of spot on, JJ. It was behind closed doors, as in there was no one in attendance. But in terms of actually being able to view the game, we were able to.
No, but who are the people in the stands then?
They were fans.
Were they like family?
Family. Wait, family or fans?
Well, that's the same thing, isn't it? Friends and fans.
Yeah.
What I'm saying, they were fans of the players. What I'm saying is that
Yeah.
it wasn't a behind closed doors way. It wasn't like a training match. Like they have training games all the
Yeah.
time. It wasn't that.
That's different.
Televised, they were kitted
How
up.
many times, JJ, you're spot on, because how many times have you heard sometimes clubs come out and be like, yeah, we just had a behind closed doors game? You're like, wait, what? Like, we didn't know.
Yeah, you're like, bro, when did that happen?
It was literally behind closed doors. So you're spot on, JJ, that this wasn't really, I think they just labeled it as that, but it wasn't really.
Yeah, exactly. Big up to KFC. Klopp says himself, look here, nobody wants to concede 4 goals, but at least the fans got to see 8 goals.
Is that what he said?
Yeah. So do you know what I mean? Obviously, the fans. No. Let's trust in Klopp. No. Stop. Now, G. It's true because think about it. The fact that like the Greater Furth fans and stuff, they have never seen like to see goals in it.
He's got to see 8 goals. This he's a joker, man.
Regardless,
season to not forget, man. Remember, like we're doing it all this year, man.
Yeah, no, but that's what it is, Liverpool. That's what it is. You're saying you're just questioning our questions. Fact, that's what I'm saying. Question our question. When you're saying we're winding ourselves up, that's not questioning our questions. You're saying we're winding ourselves. That's why I'm like, no, we're not winding ourselves up. But in terms of the question, facts, you can put the question up there, man. But no, do you know what it is? I look at it, right? And I see some positives.
Let's talk about the positives so that people don't think that.
I think the press looked a bit better from both teams. So I know the teams were off, and I know we conceded all the goals in the second half, but that's more to do with we had a poor keeper. We know about that partnership at the back. It's not the most solid. You had a young DM there with obviously Elliott and Jones in midfield, which never ever really works. And then you had a forward line of Salah, Nunez, and Kumas in Scanlon, who came on afterwards. Kumas, I'm not really a fan. I'm not really a fan of him. I don't really like him. I don't think he's good enough. I just don't think he's good enough. But great, he's getting minutes. But he doesn't really press really well. Nunez doesn't press really well, and then Salah doesn't. He's not the biggest presser either. So it meant that they were passing through our team much easier. But I think the midfield pressed very, very well. There's a couple of times that Jones, you saw, or Elliott nicked the ball off them, and then we were in transition, and like that final ball might have been poor or whatever, but that worked well. I think we actually looked more threatening going forwards in that second half than we did in that second half. We looked more threatening going forwards in the second half than we did in the actual first half. Yeah. I think the first half, we were much more controlled, but I still think I saw Gakpo. I think Diaz pressed much better than he did in the first half, and I spoke about it before. Don't show what he's about. I think there were positives. That's about it that I've seen, to be fair. And obviously Nunez scoring in it, and we're going to get onto that, but I'm going to allow G to have his monologue about Nunez because I know.
Listen, when it comes to Nunez, look, he took his goals well. We played this format. We played to his tactics, man. Kick it and run. When he gets in behind, he's quick, bro. He's quick. Yeah, I mean, and you saw with him and Salah, I feel like Klopp's seeing a partnership between Salah and Nunez and Gakpo and Jota. I think he's starting to understand that certain players are going to work obviously a lot better with others. Nunez can't work with like a Gakpo and all these other guys, whoever Jota, but he can work really well with Salah because they're very similar. Again, Salah obviously now he's more ball to feet and then he'll play off his thing, but he can run in behind. We saw that today, with some of the balls that, I think it was the last goal, when we hit the fourth, when Nunez ran in behind and then set up Salah for that goal. Yeah. I think when we saw that, I was like...
Was it Curtis Jones that played that pass into Nunez?
I can't remember. Was it Jones? I didn't even see the pass. I think it was
Jones into Nunez. I think it was Jones into Nunez running behind and then...
Cool. Yeah. So if it's like that, listen, if Liverpool play to that, to Nunez' strengths in that regard, no problem. Then you need to have Salah there. Salah, obviously, he's going to be there anyway, but you know what I mean? He has to be those two. When you've got the other way around, it is a little bit, Salah becomes more the creator. He's not really running behind. You don't really do that too much kind of thing, which is interesting to see what his role is going to be like.
We saw this last preseason, and I know you lot will be like, Romel, stop mentioning this guy, but Jones was close to Nunez. It's not rocket science. When he has someone close behind him, he benefits.
Where did Cavalier end up, bro? Where did Cavalier end up? in Germany, bro, in Bavaria, in his own training camp.
They just got Xavi Simons as well, bro. He might be sitting on the bench again.
I don't think me and JJ were chopping this up. It's long now. I give my thoughts and praises to him and his family, bro, because it's looking long. And they signed that Openda guy, the baller from.
Yeah, you lost that one.
It's looking long. Just to add on to what G was initially saying, if you play someone next to Nunez or just in behind, cool, we don't play with a traditional 10, but he will cook. If he has them through balls, he loves spacing behind. Problem is with the Prem, teams sit back against us. So Nunez is never really going to score in that way. It'll be more from wider positions. You saw against the West Hams and the goals against Southampton, they were whipped in. A lot of his goals in the Premier League last season were more whipped in. He's not going to get that he's not going to get that kind of eye the needle through ball. And the one game he did are against the bigger teams like your Cities, your Arsenals, your Uniteds, who don't really necessarily sit off us, which leaves space in behind. I don't know if you don't realize Nunez's better games have been against the bigger oppositions, the Real Madrids, the Cities, the Arsenals, because the high line suits him. And you saw it last preseason with Carvalho playing behind him, the Community Shield, the game against Leipzig. You play it in behind for him, he will cook. You saw it today. Jones playing that eye the needle through ball, he will cook. But we're not going to play to his strengths like that. So I'm not surprised. I have a feeling Nunez is going to be one of them players that does, yes, he's going to do very well in pre-season, but the minute it goes back to basics, we play against these low blocks.
Hey, listen, Chalobah is waiting for him, bro. Chalobah and Thiago Silva are waiting for him opening day of the season, man. It's gonna get spooky.
But if he doesn't, it's like you said though, if he doesn't get that kind of, well, there's some funny stuff going on social media right now. If he doesn't get the space that he needs, then we said 100 times about this, but ain't gonna do nothing. But if he can, if Klopp can maybe play it that way, and maybe we can get the combinations of playing midfield, and then boom, then like Nunez will be able to run his thing and literally go from there. But I think I'm still of the belief, as much as took his goals very well, man, I'm definitely not going to take that away from him. They were really, really good goals from Nunez, and it showed me, okay, cool. You know what? Maybe his finishing possibly has gotten a bit better. Maybe, I don't know. We'll see how the season goes. But if Liverpool are to be effective next season, it's still not with him or Diaz in the squad. That's still quite evident. I don't see those two being pivotal because of the way that we need to play in order to get them being effective. You know what I mean? Like in these kind of games, it's quite difficult. They won't get into games against Chelsea like that, like or against Newcastle, like anyone in the Premier League. Like we keep talking about the top 6 teams. Brother, all I know, we play Bournemouth, and it could just get sticky for man. You know what I mean? At that stadium, like it's all the same thing. Like so. I'm saying we keep talking about the top 6, but there's other teams in there who can easily cause us a problem. So against those kind of teams in that kind of competition, I think you still go Gakpo and Jota just because they can link up a lot better. McAllister will be back. Szoboszlai will probably be in there with Trent potentially in there. Like that might be a better combination. So we might see something like that against Bayern Munich. Hopefully, if Szoboszlai comes back fit and whatnot, maybe we see what the lineup would look like. I'll be very intrigued to find out when we face Bayern Munich. Does Conor Bradley play that game as well? And if he does, what's his positioning? Jerry mentioned about Trent in the 6. Is that going to be, because that will give you a better I think that game is going to give you the indication. This is kind of how I want to go for the season. If we don't have the signings that we supposedly want to get in, that's how he's going to go. And to be honest, let's be honest. Does Klopp look like he wants to get signed? Like he might not look at it and think he wants signings. Like he might look at the situation and think, I've got Trent in there. Maybe he's going to play majority of games. Bajcetic can come in. He might not look at the situation the same way we do, man. That's all I'll say on that.
Maybe so, man. Maybe so. I'm gonna get into the comments now. Big up to Frank Carla. I think he's a new supporter of the show, saying great show, lads, but I've got to go. And as Big Arnie once said, I'll be back. That's for sure. So big up to yourself, man. I appreciate you tuning in. Gonna get into. There's a lot of your comments, man. A lot of your comments that we actually got to get into. We've got Angel 1968 saying we're on the game, saying look. The complete lack of professionalism and positional discipline in the second half and in defence for the defence and the midfield was disgraceful. See, I don't know if it was lack of professionalism or positional discipline. Yes, professionalism, I wouldn't say so. Jay Kismet saying 4-4, good workout, but we was all waiting for a player who got a chance to shine to take that second half by the scruff of the neck. Elliott played well, but Jones had to step up. He didn't. I don't know. They've just came back from their their game, and I mean, to be fair, I'd be pretty interested. I think it was just an average game from everyone in that midfield. I remember a couple of times I think Jones played a killer pass, but I think everyone in that second half was average. Bar Nunez, and that nice play from Salah, that ball from Salah to play Nunez was a standout moment. But apart from that, I think everyone played quite average.
You know, you don't know my views on Elliot, but maybe because I don't really hold him in that high regard. But I thought Elliot had a decent second half, you know, with Salah linking play, quite intricate. He was getting down that right hand side quite a bit. So I think Elliot and Nunez were probably two of our better players. Like you said, Jones playing a few of the through balls. But I think Elliot, for the competition he had, and I think they've only been with the team, for the last couple of days, considering that, I was wondering why Klopp took him straight off, though. Like, I thought he would give him at least a 45, because it's not like, I know he's had a tournament, but I didn't think he would take him off that quick. That I found a bit, because he's only
maybe fitness, you know, because they've got the GPS trackers. If his heart rate's too high, they'll take you off in it. Yeah. So yeah, it might have been that. Because he didn't play, maybe he's not as fit as like Jones, and Jones was fit. You know what I mean? K-Mac saying, Roms, the problem is squad players. They are not good.
I think I was earlier. No, you're right, man.
Yeah. Asian at 68 saying, expected a comfortable win. Unfortunately, Adrian and the defense second half thought differently. Yeah, facts. We've got James Doherty saying, Liverpool better never get taken to court because we have no defense. We've got Andrej Zinic saying, just came from work. Is anyone injured? How did we play? Luckily, no one is injured, and I think it was just like an average, decent game. Not too much to take from it, if I'm being honest. Mark A saying, I knew Trent wasn't cut out for midfield. Do you think Trent stays in midfield then, guys? If you have to just go.
Not as a lone six. For me, I just feel like it's very easy, especially against better opposition, to mark Trent out of the game from that role. We even saw the end of last season, I think, when we played Villa at home. He was ineffective. He was ineffective. They put two men on him. It was quite easy to mark him out of the game. We had no one else really to play the ball as an outlet. So I feel like if he's going to play midfield, it's got to be as a double pivot or play him as an 8, where he's got a bit more space in the ball, because he's kind of getting in ball in positions where it's like he can't really turn. He's just playing him back to the back four, and it's kind of like it's a waste of someone who's like that good a passer to be doing that role. So for me, it's got to play with someone else in there.
For me, it's another long season for Kanai, because you know they say within every joke there's some truth here. You know our last season, Kanai, they were like, "Oh, how's your new role in the back three?" He's like, "Oh, I can't cover him always." Remember when he made that little joke?
He's like, "I'm tired."
He's like, "No, I don't want to cover this guy." But I think when it's all said and done, it will be back to that back four. I think when we start signing 6, whether it be a Lavia or I don't think it'll be Paulino, but the people we're linked to anyway, I think it'll be Max, Sob, and the 6. And I think Trent will just naturally go into that. And I think he's going to start the season how he kind of ended last season. I can't see him just starting in this midfield role. Even though I said the other day, if Klopp's going to do it, he should stick with it, because the only way he's going to become accustomed to it, he's gonna revert back to what he knows, man. This manager's not showing me anything to suggest otherwise. So I think when we start up, it's gonna be put like this in the transition. It will be the back four, and when we're on the offense, it will just join into that inverted role. I can just see. I don't think much will change.
Let's see. Hamza, big up to Hamza saying, just a Lavia ain't saving this team. Facts. Inclined to agree. Bob saying, thoughts on Kwanzaa. I want to see him next to VVD or Konate. Doesn't look any worse than Matip or Gomez, and FSG are stingy, so could be an option. Yeah, that's what I agree with. I mean, we're talking about off air. I think Kwanzaa, he's got all the tools to be a decent centre back. He's quite broad. He's tall. He's got a good range of pass. He's not slow. He's aggressive. They actually played the ball over the top into Salah. That was very Verge reminiscent. Now, I know a lot of people are calling him mini Verge. I don't want to go that far, but
crazy.
Guys, would you say that's an option then? If you have to just quickly,
it's only an option because Bob said it himself. It's only an option because FSG is stingy. It's not like we've got 200 million to spend, but we're like, nah, this guy's the truth. We don't need a like how a Foden was so good for City, it was like we don't need to go and sign anyone else. This guy is ready to go. And I'm not saying I'm expecting him to be like of that level at the moment, but just to echo what I said, if we weren't in this situation where you know what the club was like, we wouldn't be saying this guy's ready. Like, it looks good, but he's come from nowhere. No one was talking about him last season really as like someone to push into the first team. It's only because now we're in a situation.
It's the only person I'm going to big up because he does his academy watch. I think our academy's dead, so I just don't watch them. It's as simple as that. But big up Ram, because Ram was telling me about Konza from, I say before the World Cup. Ram was like, you know what, he looks promising. He didn't say anything mad that he's guaranteed to start for us and that, but Ram did predict this, that in the Preseason you'll see him more of the squad. I think he done well in the FA Youth Cup, whatnot, and he did say Klopp's probably going to integrate him in our preseason fixture. So big up Ram. Ram did call this, to be fair.
Yeah, cool. We got K-Mac saying, guys, I'm sorry to break it to you all, but we look like last preseason. We play a good team and we are getting smashed. We got Violent Clown saying Nunez took his 2 goals very well. He did, man. Good finishes, man. Good finishes, especially the first one when he rounded the keeper. I didn't expect him to do that. So good finish and good run, man. Bob saying sign Sieb. What did I say in the group chat? I told you Liverpool are going to be onto this guy, man.
Yeah, JD.
Under 20 years old, 2 goals.
You play well against us. That's all you need. That's all the scouting needs. Have a good game against us, and then.
But ain't that a trial though, Aish? If you're having a trial somewhere, aren't they just like, yeah, like if you have a good trial, then.
But again, you weren't talking about these guys before today. Had you heard of him? It's the same with Nunez. Before he played Benfica in the Champions League.
It don't matter if I heard of him now. Now I know he's a player that exists. If that team's on FIFA, which I'm not sure if they are, I might sign him to my career mode. You get it? I might
JJ,
just
you're
sign him.
just as bad as the top Reds, man.
What t-shirt am I wearing, bro?
Oh shit!
We got Ibrahim Zogzogi saying, "I don't want to believe that the goals we conceded were because of other than laziness." I don't think it's laziness, man. We got Hamza saying VVD is a Rolls Royce at the scrapyard. Rah, man. Man's saying Cat D. You know that just a write-off. Jamrock saying, "Why is there an Arsenal fan commenting on NFC?" Needed to get a different perspective. You know what I mean?
This joke, listen, we leave that last season, man. The joke, it needs to end now. It needs to end.
A quick one. Who's better, Konate or Saliba?
You know enough. I'll say it straight. Saliba's better.
Cole or Saliba?
Saliba, you know me. I'm gonna be honest on street.
There we go. You wanted to leave it in the past, bro. You brought it into the future. I gave you a chance to redeem yourself. Chat, get on
it. You see? Oh my dude.
Jay Kismet saying, Adrian, Lord of mercy. What does he actually do? Put your foot through the ball and hit it long. Yeah, he's just terrible keeper, man.
I remember the board wanted Adrian gone. It was a certain someone who persisted. He stays and sign a contract. Just saying.
It's true. Frank Carlisle saying Robertson's been awful since last season. He's playing on his own overhype. Going on to say we desperately need a quality DM immediately. No more excuses about money. Kimmich is the man. Yeah, Ram's got the tissues out right now. Do you know what I mean? Tears in his eyes, looking into the ceiling, bro. As soon as he hears Kimmich, it's crazy.
That's how.
We got Rahul Shantan saying people need to chill. Poor result, but I'm more interested to see who is coming in, especially at the defensive midfield position. Like all of us, man. Like all of us. Jamrock saying we've read that already. That was hilarious. K-Mac saying what I don't get is why is we are playing Trent as a DM and then we are playing the right back inverted. That doesn't make any sense when we have Trent. That's what I'm confused about. Why is Bradley inverting? But hey, Rahul saying young lads are getting minutes in the Europa League and Trent will start at right back. We have no defensive midfielders. That's true. James Doherty saying, in a world full of footballers, we sure as hell can get a good centre-back who can play / cover full-back as well. What the heck is Klopp and co waiting for?
This is it.
Yeah, come on. Ask G. G's got Linders on speed, though. So, you know what I mean? Maybe.
Listen, like I said, bro, I keep saying it, man. Listen, Klopp, do what you're doing, bro. I don't care. Do what you're doing. It's your job on the line. If you get sacked tomorrow, I promise you there's no tears this side. So just run your rhythm, bro. Do what you're doing.
Gagging deep, big up to Gag saying this squad at best we finished third, no higher though. Jeez, that's his thoughts. No higher though. Yeah, for me.
No, he said thoughts. He's asking for our thoughts and then finishing high.
I agree. I remember I said I don't think like Gags. I agree. I think third is the highest we finished, Gags.
Third and fifth. I told you between third and fifth. I said it time.
We could finish second.
We were saying,
we're not doing anything.
I will say this. I know these three don't agree, but I've said we'll get champions. Remember, it's fifth as well. Our coefficient is very high, so I reckon it will be between, like G said, third and fifth. But I do believe. I just have this feeling we win Europa League, and I won't change my opinion. I believe we win that. Only way we don't is if Sevilla finish third and they drop in, then it's done. I lose all hope because they just somehow will just win that. But I think we win Europa League next season, and that will paper over a lot of the cracks because it's a trophy, European trophy as well. Only one Klopp hasn't won, but you know what we're like, man. We just got this affection with Europe. But I think we probably get. If I have to be honest, I'll say fourth in Europa League. That's my prediction for next year.
There we go, man. We got Wino saying, G, please lend the LFC your scouting database.
They're not going to use it. How they can.
We got Mark A saying, G, you seen the Elise rumors?
Man told me I was gonna,
You've been on this train. You were the first to be on this train.
Brother, Elise is a top quality player, but it depends on what you're looking for from a player like that. Like he comes in and he's okay, let's put it this way: you want Elise or do you want Ben Doak? I'll just leave it at that. If you whichever one you want, that's the player that should say.
Who presses better though? Who's got more heart? Who's like better for like the squad than that?
Still Elise.
Depends on what you're looking for.
No. But asking for like the squad morale and stuff. That's important though.
At least they get a place, brother.
Squad morale. I don't think it'll make any difference. I think they'll both be exactly the same. Ben Doak isn't someone who's good for the morale because he's so young.
You're batting the bait. You're batting the bait. Oh, JJ's taking the
No. But like we'll bite it. You know what I'm saying? I want to know like who would you think would be better like in that position? Because you mentioned about Diaz. So I asked you this, yeah. Do you think Diaz fits the squad that Jurgen Klopp wants? The profile of player that he wants, does he fit?
He fits it more than Elise.
They're exactly the same type of player. They're literally the exact same player. So by that measure, they must be. Where does
Elise play for you? Because listen, for me, he has to go. You have to shoehorn him again in that midfield. But for me, if it was my team, he displaces your boy, that number 11, and that if he's not cutting it, putting down any trees, at least.
But I'm with it though. I'm fully, bro. As in, I want these men to get displaced. Like you can't unless you got Haaland who's scoring 50 goals a season. Like why can't anyone else be displayed? And Alvarez is still good enough to even play in that team as well. Anyway, so why can't you have other players play? Maybe not Salah, but I feel like he could do Szoboszlai's role the exact same. I can't see why there'll be a difference. But Szoboszlai is better than Elise, in my opinion.
Interesting. Yeah, I just think Doak's better for the team. I think Klopp likes him better, man. I don't think Klopp would like Elise.
Why not?
I just don't think they'd reason with it. Like Klopp would want some more passion. Like Elise don't even celebrate free kicks.
He's scoring.
Yeah, that's good though. At least what you want man to be like.
Yeah, that's what you need to. You want. That's exactly what you want. You want the players to play in the image of the manager.
You're a punk.
Nah,
it's true though.
I know that. I know that you would not rather have Ben Doak in your team than flipping Elise.
I think if Doak was French, he'd be playing in the French team right now. But you call him Mbappe.
Well, like Ben Doak.
In what French team? What the under 14s or something? How old is he? 17.
The irony of this. JJ don't even rate Doak. This is why this is.
Bro.
How come I say under 40? You're taking a fucking piss.
No, sorry. I meant to say under
14. He's 18.
Sorry, yeah, he's 18. Sorry, yeah. So what? You fit under 18s? Yeah, maybe. You know what? I don't know they're under 18s like that. So I don't know. He might fit that one still. Big up Market.
We got a last question for the panel from Ibrahim saying, we still didn't see McAllister and Szoboszlai play together. Do you think it would bring more balance to the team with Dom staying back and Mac going forward? Mac's got to stay back. Szoboszlai's on the pitch.
Yeah, I'd say he's more the. I say Szoboszlai is more the attacking of the two. I feel like in a 4-3-3, I don't know if them two would work as the 2-8s. Kind of similar to how I don't think Odegaard and
Nah, you man can't be saying that though. Nah, I'm not even hearing that because man told me not specifically.
No, man, for them two to work in the same midfield, we've got to do the box thing with 2 DMs. You can't be having them two as the 2-8s. And what is Trent going to play lone 6?
All right. So in the first game, who was more attacking in the first game? So Szoboszlai or McAllister?
Probably McAllister, to be honest. He was the one threading through balls into Jota, I think it was. He got an assist for it. But I don't see
wasn't Dom the one staying back. Big up Ibrahim. Wasn't Dom the one staying back?
Dom was more attacking out of the midfielders that we had on the pitch. Dom was more attacking though. He played on the left, but remember we had McConnell? Who played in midfield?
McAllister was the most attacking player on the pitch as well.
Yeah, that's my point. In the second, but what we saw today in the first game, in the second half, yes. But today, what we saw from McAllister, in my opinion, McAllister was deeper. Yeah, because you had Jones, you had not Jones playing, you had Gakpo playing that was more advanced.
Now you're trying to shoot.
Let me ask you.
He's actually not. So Szoboszlai was.
No, he's not. Yeah, he's not.
In the first game.
Lavia's the lone 6 with that midfield 3 of Szoboszlai and McAllister. Is that convincing?
That is, go. I dare Klopp take that to the Etihad, please. Take that. Go and see what Roger and KDB were saying for him. He takes.
But do you think maybe they would never play together?
One of them have to be dropped.
Maybe McAllister and Szoboszlai will never play together. Maybe it's just like
we've dropped £100 million or 95 million pounds on 2 8s that aren't going to play together.
Yeah, because we've got Jones and Elliott that are going to rotate.
Yeah.
Wait, but I wouldn't play any of them two together. So if we're playing 2 8s, I wouldn't play
that Szoboszlai and Jones, or Szoboszlai and McAllister, or Szoboszlai and Jones, or McAllister and Jones, or Szoboszlai and Elliott, McAllister and Elliott.
That's moving me. That's not moving me. McAllister, Szoboszlai.
Remember Thiago exists.
I was gonna say, bro, like man, just dismissing Thiago like he ain't even alive.
I forgot about him. I swear to God, I forgot about him. I swear.
Crazy.
Is he not? Is he not training again?
Where is he?
I don't know, man. You know the music, you just like, he's there.
Apparently he had a Pilates. He had a Pilates class in München, innit? That's why.
He goes to München. Everyone turned up for pre-season in their tracks. Man came in like a jumper and chinos. I was like, "Are you not ready to do any work?" No, bro.
You know what? Are you working or like you just messing around? Like,
in their tracksuit. Man came in their tracksuit, ready to go. I'm just seeing him walk around in a t-shirt and jeans like a coach.
You don't ever have that guy in your batch in school yet. And when it was playtime, like he's just nowhere to be seen. Like, well, any of you seen man? He might be in the canteen or he might be in the
doing like socks or something.
Bro, you don't see man until the end of lunch, and it's like, bro, where are you, bro? That's Thiago. Like, no one actually ever knows where he is. It's funny.
Then man who only turn up for games and that's it, and even he don't even do that much.
Exactly, man. Not even turn up for that. But look, man, people, we've had an hour and a half of a review for pre-season game. I don't think pre-season reviews are that long ever, but you're getting that content out. Obviously, big up to everyone in the comments for smashing the like as well and getting involved. Please make there's 100 and I think 40 of us in the building right now. So please make sure that we're smashing the like. Please. Before we head out as well, G, let the people know it's popping on GTV, man.
When's our next pre-season game?
Sunday. When's the 30th? Sunday, innit?
I feel like. So I'll drop my reaction to this game later on today. Other than that, just stay tuned, man. Jerry James Show. Anything else that's popping this week? Any news? If there is any news, I'll be there. Scout Watchers. That's about it, man. Nothing really too extravagant, if I'm being totally honest with you, man. That's about it.
There we go, man. Obviously, shout out to Ish as well, making massive moves on Versus as well. If you want to catch any captions, make sure you're heading over to the Equalizer and obviously Versus as well. Roms, you're about on Twitter. tweeting every sport. Just finished the Wimbledon. Yeah, I mean,
bro, it was
Wimbledon run.
Big up, Alka. And yeah, any boxing fans. Listen,
Yeah, I was gonna say this weekend,
this
isn't it?
weekend, this is 5 years in the making. This fight, one of the biggest boxing fights of this decade, man. So yeah, if you want to chop it up, just hit me up on Twitter and whatnot. And
I promise you, I don't watch any of those sports like religiously, but I promise you, man, I follow Roms's tweets and I'm like, okay. So when someone asks me a question, I'm like, obviously my man punched him up. You know what I mean? If you lot ain't watching the fight, then you ain't watching the fight. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just going based on what Roms is saying, though.
Football, tennis, and boxing. Anything out of that, I'm not gonna act like I'm some purist. But them three, if you ever want to chop out, obviously more time will be about Liverpool, it's Liverpool community. But if you're a boxing or tennis purist, man, I'm there. I'm there, man.
There we go, man. So appreciate it. So, and guys, please, in the replays, please let us know what you obviously not in the replays, after when you're watching this on a replay. If anyone's watching this back, please in the comments let us know. What do you guys think of this performance? What do you think of Nunez's finishes? Obviously getting off the mark, Salah getting off the mark as well. Trent obviously being in the six as well. Obviously we chopped up a lot, so I want to know you guys' thoughts as well. Please, obviously, whilst you're here, if you haven't already, please click the notification bell to stay updated and stay in tune with all the new content that's dropping on the channel. But until further notice, might be later on today, God knows. If you sign a midfielder, you know I'm going to be back. But until next time, people, it's the Jerry James Show, and we're out, people. Take it easy.